I guess
We're all good.
let me share my desktop. And let me go to the guide. Oh, I just lost the guide. Just went away. There it is. Okay. All right. We should have the guide and the link to the guide, link to the notebook. Same as usual. We have a notebook to record stuff in. We share, and then we have the guide you can follow, and then we've got the site itself that you'll work through. There's nothing too new about operationally how this works. You've been through it in release 3, I think it was. We gathered all the changes, or quite a few, and we pushed those through in the last couple of 3 sprints, and you will see that here.
I'm not seeing anything except your smiling face.
Yeah, well, you're not sharing your screen.
That's weird. Oh, how about that?
There you go.
Sorry, thank you. I got all the way to the share, selected it, but I didn't hit the final share. Okay. So this is the guide again. We'll give this a link to this. In fact, the project page has, I think Kelly put it out there today, has the link to this guide and the notebook, and I'll get to the notebook in a second. Okay, so this is pretty much the same exactly as before, if you were in it before. If not, that's totally fine. Test thoroughly, detail oriented, all those kinds of suggestions is in the guide, which you've seen more before. But I want to get down to, and we'll go over and get into it here in a minute, but this is not the way someone's going to access the pre-screening ETPL. It's just the way you are in UAT right now. We got a landing page brewing, which gives them all kinds of information before they would say, yeah, I need to go to this. But for you all, when you get to the home page, when you get following the link that we give you, okay, you'll see a home page that looks kind of like this, got some testing stuff all over it. Don't worry about the login. If you go over here and select this and go to ETPL, you will get to this page, okay? This page here, we ask for a provider name, FEIN or Rapids ID, and then a contact email address. You can put your own in if you want to see how that works, because it'll send an email to you and provide you a link back into this. If you want to go in multiple times and you don't want to go through that email process, just put any email name with @fakemail.com, and it tells you this right here. Okay. And that'll kind of bypass sending those emails out and all that kind of stuff. So they fill this out, it goes to their email. It allows us to kind of clean up and qualify that somebody's got access to that email inbox. They hit that link and it brings them back into the next page. Okay. They're really kind of, after that, collecting that, this is what that email looks like. After collecting that information, we're able to track the data against their email address. They can hit that multiple times if they want and come back in over and over. But it allows us to kind of gather that information that's going to be associated to a provider, but that provider is not really in the system yet, right? So we're getting through the pre-screening and they're doing it themselves. Don't worry about this. My screens came from staging today, and that's just, don't worry about that. That's not going to be seen by that blue test clear inputs. Okay, so the first one, and there really is only 3 steps. It seems like there's a lot, but that's because you can take those 3 steps in 3 different ways, right? So the first step is providing a description of your program, of your training provider, and then selecting one of these 3. Of course, if you select the 4th one and hit next, it tells you basically you got to be one of those 3. We did change some stuff I think you're going to like a lot in the error reporting, or when we tell them about a problem, we give them the opportunity to contact, we'll give them the contact information for the local WIA, and I'll show you that in a second. Okay, so you have to enter this description, and then you pick one of these 3: college, university, organization, or registered apprenticeship program, or CBO, labor management, or FBO. Those are the 3 tracks, so to speak. You pick one of those, and and then if you pick the first one, and I'm not going to spend too much time in this document because I'm going to take you through it, but you pick the first one, college, university, then you have to answer public or private, and then what types of credentials does the institution primary award? And you pick one of those, okay? Then,
Can you, Whitney had a question in the chat on the
okay,
first page.
yeah, let me go back. Let me get my chat up. Okay. They only select one for that question. The first 2 can describe community colleges. Okay. Wait, is that the first question you asked? Yeah.
Mm.
All right, let's take a look at this.
So I think it's the next one, I think, although I do have a question about the one that you're sharing now. I think they're gonna select that first option, right, which describes them as, yes, right here, where you have a college university that primarily offers all of those things. A lot of them do offer registered apprenticeship programs. So again, I think they'll probably just select that and that won't be a big deal, but I'm just thinking in terms of accuracy, if there's maybe you need to change that second one to say primarily or something to that effect.
So
Are you on step 2 or
let me go
step
back
1?
and see what
Sorry.
this says. I'm gonna go back and see what this says here.
Yeah, right there.
Yeah, right there. Okay.
Which of the 4 choices best describes your provider? Okay, so here's the thing about the screening process. I'm not saying this is the right answer, okay, but there's not really a wrong answer if they're in one of the right answers, right? We're trying to make sure pre-screening wise that they fall into one of these categories. If they happen to fall into all of them or 2 of them, that's okay. Whichever one they tell us about would get them through. Okay. So we haven't got to the point where we're actually collecting information about their programs, because we would know then, oh, you got a registered apprenticeship program, you got a degree program, you got both, whatever. This is just getting them pre-screening to say, you as a provider, yeah, you look like you could be on our eligible training provider list based upon what you're telling us. Okay. So if you're saying, well, you don't collect enough data to say this provider is both, we'll know once we get their training programs exactly all the things they provide.
Okay.
I don't know that's a right answer. I don't want to say that's a right answer. I'm just saying, as long as they answer, we don't care which one they think is primary or best, their best choice. Because if whichever one would get them through. Okay.
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 That's fine. I think that's
Okay.
fine.
Okay.
Is that
And
okay?
then-
Or Whitney, do you think we should add primary?
No,
Well,
I think
yeah,
it's
we
fine.
can-
I mean, I missed the part about best described, so I think
Okay.
I don't think anyone will have any major heartburn. I was just thinking a little bit.
Okay.
But this next one, I do have some thoughts.
Okay. So now you're going to say, well, I offer bachelor's, but I also offer associate's degrees, right? Associate degree or a bachelor degree, or I offer all 3 of these, right?
Yeah, so like community colleges, they're probably not going to be able to tell you if they mostly have awarded certificates or associate's degrees. I mean, they do collect that information, but they offer both, obviously. So I'm just trying to,
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly why at this level, other than if they don't offer any of these three, then we have a problem. But we don't even offer, I don't offer any of these. So I don't know how much information by us collecting this gives us, because we do have outcomes for each training program. And, you know, it could be a bachelor's degree or associate's degree or certificate or a license or whatever, right? So the training program really gives us the detail. So I don't know, and there's none of the above. So, you know, I don't really have a good answer for that one. Is Laura on?
I'm not seeing where PBVSs would be here either. I mean, they would click private, but
Well, once they click private, then PBVS will show up. So
Okay.
it's a step process. And again, like Al said, all we're wanting to do is make sure that they're an eligible provider at this point. So at this point, we're just asking, okay, so if you're a community college, what do you primarily award? And I would say most community colleges would probably, you know, they would pick one of these three. It's either an associate's, bachelor's, or a certificate of or a completion. So
Right.
they would just pick the one they primarily award. And if you would like to tell all community colleges when they're filling this out, we would like for you to select this one, or you know,
Well,
that-
but should we, I guess the question for, and then I want to address what Nina says. So Whitney, is there like some instruction or like a different way to word this question to get, you know, to lessen the heartburn? Because I mean, I could see them saying, well, we do both.
This is primarily award.
I mean, you could just put bachelor's degree or higher and then have an option for sub-baccalaureate, or you could say, I guess I don't know the reason why you would need to know, like, are there other institutions out there that only offer
I believe this is,
certificates of completion, or, you know, I'm trying to
Yeah.
think through like
It's-
what.
I believe this is required because it's a reporting element. DOL just wants to know, you know, what's the primary award that the institution provides. That way they can do some type of evaluation of training providers across the
Right, or
state.
they do nothing with it, which.
Or they do nothing with it, right?
Right, right, probably.
Can we double check? So how about if we did this? Can we double check and make sure? Because I'm recalling that that's a reporting
It
requirement.
is a reporting requirement, yeah.
Okay, so if it is a reporting requirement, we have to keep it, but if not, then we could take it off.
Are these
Right.
the three options that they require?
These are the three options for this for a community college or university, yes.
Okay, so they've prescribed this question and their answers.
Yes.
Mhm.
Okay.
And then Nina, you're saying you don't see PBVS on there.
PBS.
yeah, I was looking at step one, and there's the expectation that they're gonna click the third section.
Right.
Yes, they're gonna click private, and when they click private, then they'll bring up another page that.
Yeah, we'll
mean,
have
I'm-
another page. Yeah. I'll show
Yeah,
you.
I mean, I'm talking at step one.
Yeah.
The expectation that at step one, they're gonna click
Step one right there.
the third circle.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then
Correct.
we have other questions on that one too.
Okay.
Okay.
That is correct. Mhm.
All right. And so then when they go down to step two and they click private, something else will happen.
Well,
Yes.
the step two that they're showing this is just if they selected college or university. So
Yeah, this is
he's
just
taking us
part of the
down the
college
path of
university.
only the first selection, the first
Okay.
option
Yeah.
selection.
Yeah, right.
Okay, makes sense now. Thank you.
Mhm.
Yeah, this is all still when the first answer is selected, it's public or private, associate's, bachelor's, okay. Then description of provider, sub-question for the second answer. Organization, this is a apprenticeship. This is actually this has been updated, so I'll have to get that in there, but it says IE registered apprenticeship.
Mhm.
Is it public or private? And then That's the only question we ask on those. And then if it's
Why are we
Next.
asking public or private there?
For the RTI,
I know, but what does that matter?
because if it's a RTI, if it's a public or a private provider for the RTI, they still need to be PBVS approved as well.
Yeah, okay.
and then the third
I don't know that
one
that's the,
is
is that the, is
all
that the
other.
right question though, Nina? Well, we can move on, but it just looks funny to me. Okay.
Yeah, there's
Okay.
2 providings, that's why.
And then in the third one, if you answer it on that first page, which is all the other, then it asks if it's a little differently, it asks a private, nonprofit, private, for-profit, or public, one of those. And then you have these 3, community-based, joint labor management, adult ed, and literacy. If you select that third one, then you're going to get, I thought you're going to get something else, but
You do, but it doesn't look like you're showing it yet.
I'm not showing it to him right now, but we'll
Well,
see
a
it.
PBVS could be a CBO and a WIOA eligible,
Right.
Mhm.
so.
That's why the PBVS will be determined based on how they if they answer 1 or 2 on the institution is,
Yeah.
then it'll take them to, it'll make
It'll-
sure that they
It'll
ask
make a
them
little
the
bit more
PBVS
sense when we
question.
see the flow. I'm sorry, but
Yeah.
and we'll probably go there next. But then the next, I wanted to say that we threw in here everywhere, which is if you get a next, you answered something, I want to say negatively, that's not necessarily negatively, but you answered something with a no, or you didn't answer correctly, that would allow you to go through the pre-screening, that on the air page, when we tell you, for example, if you selected on the first page here, the type of institution is not listed, then it would tell you that what you selected when you hit that next. And then if you wanted help, you can put your zip code in there. And when you do that, it'll give you the contact information for your associated LWIA.
Hmm.
So that's happening now on all air page types. And then in your second set of questions, you want to know in-state, out-of-state. If you're in-state, that's all you have to do. If you're out of state, we have a couple questions on that. And that's these. Is the entity listed in ETPL in which they are headquartered? And does provider have proof it's authorized to operate in chosen state in good standing? If so, if that answers yes, then you upload that. So the first one, of course, if it's yes, you select the state, and the second one, if it's yes, you upload the documentation. Any of this being no, we'll tell you with the next button, hey, here's what's wrong with that previous page. All these scenarios too, you can go back. If you're like, I blew it off, I didn't think it would matter. You can go back and actually make it matter, okay? Then you get to the basically the third level here, and that is depending upon what you hit there, like if you said public higher education and you were in Illinois, then you would get this page. And it asks if the provider has approval recognition layer from IBHE. It also national accrediting body to participate in Title IV of Higher Education Act titles, student aid programs, and it lets you select those answers, and you'd be done with. So kind of 3 levels, 1, 2, 3. You'd be done if that was the track you took. If you took public, you would get a little bit different here.
No, this is where you would add the recognition letter, upload the recognition letter, and choose the accrediting agency.
Yep, and select the accrediting agency. Okay. If you
Hey, Al, will they see the drop down on those?
Mm-hmm.
they see the drop down once they're
Okay.
yeah. We'll get through all that. Yeah, but they'll see that. Then private higher education, when the user selects private higher education, private, this would be your step to answer these questions here. And then this is what you see on the letter upload, of course.
Mm-hmm.
And then registered apprenticeship. If you answered that way, then you get this third step, which is has these two questions. Okay, this is an expansion area which gives you more information. We don't want to clutter up the screen when you first get in here because it might be overwhelming. So then public program, and then private registered apprenticeships, private organizations a little different. Okay. Then it tells us about how to do that. Then, and we're going to go through this in a minute. Then you got the community-based or labor management organization. If you pick that, then you have this page here. And this is an expansion area also. And then it shows exactly what you see when you hit those yeses and all that. So I'm going to go through it so we can really study it a little bit better, because it's not really easy to understand in a flat document like this. And then if you got through all that, you're going to get some kind of page. It's not going to look like this, but you're going to get through a page that says, hey, great, you can start adding your program, your provider, and all, just get an account. Okay. And they'll go through the process of getting an account. And when they get that account, it takes them back into our system when they log in, and it connects them back up with all their data. Okay, which is not much, but whatever they entered. So I'm going to scoot over to show you how this works, and then we can really dig into it. I'm going to put your chat on my right.
Yeah. And then so you guys know that, so once the system says, yes, it looks like you're an eligible provider, then they go in and they put their training program information in, and then it gets reviewed for approval.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
that's the flow.
Yeah, let me stop that share, and I will share my my window here. This one here. Okay. Can you see that, folks?
Yes.
Okay, good. I'll make this a little bit like a normal screen. Okay. All right. Like I said, when you get to it's going to say UAT when I get you the link to your session. This is going to say UAT. Don't worry about that. This is our staging before it gets to UAT, but you'll go to that link and it'll look just like this. Don't worry about this. I will tell you about this in a minute, but don't worry about all that. Don't worry about the login. You can just go directly here and we can start. Okay. So I'll put in anything. I have a question too for some of you to help me through, because I don't quite understand what it falls under. You'll be able to tell me really quickly. So, okay, put an FEIN in that. This lets us be able to find out if that provider is already in our system. If it's already in our system, we won't go through the pre-screening. So, and we'll give them a direction on how to get to someone in their organization. I'm going to put in anything here. So I'm going to put this bypasses, and you hit next. So when you're playing around with this, it'll give you this. It'll just say, this is a screen that's not going to appear to them because it's going to say, check your email. So I jumped right over that. Okay, this is that first page. Okay, so, or second page, I guess. So don't worry about this. You won't see this in UAT. This is going to be something other than that. Okay. Which of the four choices best describe your provider? Now here we go. A college, university, an organization that provides registered apprenticeship programs, other public or private providers, CBOs, FBOs, all of those, or none of the above. Okay. I'm going to hit this first just so I can show you how these work now. It tells you what was wrong with that previous page. And if I hit this 227, it doesn't really matter because I don't have them linked up, but this is what they're going to get. They're going to get the exact contact information that corresponds with the email I'm sorry, the zip code that they gave. Okay, I just wanted to show you that. Okay. Now, if they pick, we'll start here, college, we'll say public, we'll say bachelor's or higher. Okay. We'll say it's located in Illinois. Does the provider have a higher education approval recognition letter from the appropriate oversight agency, IBHE? Yes, then it's going to have me add, you can go ahead and you'll need to go ahead and just add some kind of file. And then all degree granting institutions must be accredited by the regional national accrediting body to participate in Title IV of the Higher Education Act of Student Programs. So in this program, is this provider accredited? You have yes, or it's a new degree institution with 3 years to gain accreditation, or no. If we hit yes, then we can select that agency. And we can go forward, and that's it. That's what they do to pre-screening. There's basically that 3 steps to get through, and it'll give them information on how to get to their next steps, which is to add their provider record and locations and start adding their training programs. Okay, I'm going to go back in. I'm going to show you a way to go back in. This is just for testing, but you can actually go, if you want to this testing page. And you see where ETPL is. You can see all the applications, the pre-screening that has been done. And you'll see the one I just did, next gen fake mail. And you can actually continue this. Well, I thought you could. Maybe I can't continue one. Let me just do this one. There we go. You can continue one that's not finished. My fault. I'll go back to this one. We'll use it. Okay. And I'm going to go back to the first page. Okay. This is a different record I had. So, okay. So the reason I want to do this is because I want to take you through something else. Okay. So let's go down to this one here. This is the registered apprenticeship, public. We go to the next page. Then we do location. We're going to do in-state again. We'll come back to out-of-state. And then it provides us with these 2 questions. Does the provider wish to opt in? If you want, this is the opt-in form. At least I think you said, hey, can we get that there? You can't see that, but that opened up in a PDF for me.
Will that then save on here as an upload once they complete it?
And then they can turn around and upload that once they complete it.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. And like that was, I'm not sure what it was. One of these PDFs, I guess. I don't see it, but anyway. So you can upload that if you finish filling that out. Okay, down here, does the RT provider documentation? Yes or no? Yes, then upload that documentation. Same thing. And then that's all there is to register apprenticeship. Now I'm just going to go right back into a different one. So we can see other ones. I'm gonna get one that's no. Here's Big Mac, fake mail. Let me do that one. Okay, this is what I wanted to ask. This is the question I wanted to ask. Let me go back to the first page. If I am provide CDL training, Laura, this is a question for you.
Okay.
Well, and that's what my VOTEC, I guess it'd probably be VOTEC or something. That's what I do. Which one of these do I hit? Other?
Oh, if it's all in CDL, it's probably other public or private because it's probably like a driving one, like a 160 driving academy.
So I
No,
go-
there,
yeah.
but there are community colleges that do CDL
Yeah,
training.
Right. But
I
I'm
was
just saying, if I'm just if I just do, that's all I do. Like you said, that
Okay, yeah.
260 or whatever those, some of those just do that, right?
Yep.
Like I realize that Lincoln Land also provides CDL training too, but I'm just saying, if I would hit that and that, is that what I'd hit? And then which one of these?
Well, didn't we talk about adding, I thought we talked about adding, because I don't know if any of those changes got made in here, but we talked about adding a proprietary school.
On this level or
That level,
this level here?
yeah.
Okay, I'll need the wording for that. That's why I'm asking this, is if I feel like I missed something because I tried this. I took a scenario through.
Yeah, I thought we
Um,
talked about this with the locals after they did their UAT.
Yes,
That
yes,
was-
okay.
yes.
And then we're gonna proprietary.
Right, we're gonna add proprietary school there.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
And is there any special set of questions that I would have on that last page? Other than, are they like any of these? Like we only have, actually, we don't have any special ones here.
No, we don't.
We just have, no, we just have one set here anyway. Okay. Okay. And they'll be able to get through this here. So just so everybody's looking here, I'm going with, does a provider have documentation by the appropriate state agency listed above to solicit students, offer and maintain courses of instruction? And then provider approved operator in Illinois, private business vocational schools by the Illinois Board of Education, been approved, and you can upload. As a delay in processing, you can upload. Exempt, you can upload. So it looks like we wouldn't have anything different then. So we just need proprietary school, correct?
Mhm. Yes.
Okay. Thank you. All right, I'm not going to submit this. I'll get through this one. I'm going to go back so we can do another one. So we did this one, we did this one. Let's check this right here. This is a question I didn't have on my document. So providers of adult education literacy activities under Title II of the WEO, which such activities are combined with training services described under WEO Title I. Is the provider an adult education provider funded through ICCB? Yes. Does the provider have program or programs that are part of an integrated career and academic preparation system? Yes. That's the two questions I didn't have for you. So this would be other public or private providers, private, for profit. It could be one of those. And then providers of adult education, those are those two questions. And then we still get back to, after we do this, we get back to this. Now, one other thing I'm going to show you here is if you're located out of state, then you select the state, okay, and then does it provide proof? And if you say yes, it has proof, then you upload proof. Okay, so that's the out of state for any of the programs. All right, so I've got another question you're going to be able to answer for me, I'm sure. And I don't know who was on the discussion I had yesterday. I think it was Julia. Is Julia on? No, she's not on until tomorrow. Okay. Christy, you on? Christy not on?
Yes, I'm here. I'm here.
Okay, so this is a scenario we have more than one place, I'm sure, which is we have bordering states that have programs like Wisconsin and Indiana, right? That we would send registrants to, send customers to training programs, right?
I'm not
It's
sure
a
if we have
mixed-
anyone in Indiana.
You don't have any?
I'm not sure. To be honest with you, I don't know.
Julia told me this.
Well, she might, then you want me to grab her? I can see if she's available.
Sure, she's available.
Or maybe
Reason
Mark
I'm
or
asking this,
Paula.
it's more of a, it's kind of more of a down the road, a little bit down the road from this. It's, okay, so when you build out your training programs and you submit those, so I'm the provider, say I'm from is that Kennesaw or somewhere right on the border of Illinois, and I have a program and we send people to it. or we will, or we could. What happens is we probably want that to be associated to that LWIA so that we can get the review, the first step of the review done, because it's not really out of state in the sense that we're not sending it directly, and Mark might have an answer to this too, sending it directly to DCEO ETPL coordinator. We're sending
Well,
it,
No,
the
you're
way-
sending all out of state.
it doesn't matter. Okay,
Well-
you're saying it doesn't matter? Okay.
Well, in the future, we think we're going to. I still question that, but currently, yeah, if their home base is out of state, we look at where they would be getting students from,
Yeah,
and we would ask them to reach out to that closest local LWIA.
right.
But and I wouldn't mind keeping that and keeping as much out of our hands directly as possible, and we're already going to be overwhelmed finishing the approval process, much less taking any more on ourselves.
Well, we'll have to make
But
sure
that's-
we address that in the draft policy. It says they all come to the state.
Well, I know that. I understand
Okay.
what we've got in draft. But I've not agreed with that because I don't think we understand how much work that's going to be on the state.
So, Mark, I'm
Yeah.
with you. That's why I'm asking this question. Laura, I'm with you. We need to update policy if we're going to do that. But mine's a more technical issue. I'm trying to figure out how I would do that. Okay. If right now, we're going to associate those new providers that are pending with those new programs to respective LWIAs through their main location address. That's how we do that.
Mm-hmm.
How do we do that? Do we try to, whoa, I know how. So we should connect like some of the zip codes in Wisconsin, some of the zip codes in Indiana to 7 or 1, right? LWIA 1 or 7. We should do that in our LWIA tables so that we know if we get those, they don't automatically go to the state. That's what I'm thinking.
Well, that's again to Laura's point. New policy right now is drafted. They would all come to us,
Okay.
state level, which makes it easy.
Okay. All right. All right.
From that perspective. But from the current policy and from what you're saying there, and I would like to see, yeah, you would have trouble in some of those areas because let's say you're in Janesville, you're going to go to LWIA 3. If you're in Milwaukee, you're going to go to LWIA 1 probably. I mean, just because you're in another state doesn't necessarily mean there's only one LWIA you would tie them to. So it would really, I don't know how you would figure that out from a programming perspective. You get into Iowa and you got LWIAs 4, 14, 13, and 14 all.
And we have Missouri too. I get that.
Yeah. So I don't know how you would decide what the closest one is unless you have all the offices and you just say, okay, if my address is in Davenport, what's the closest office
That's
Yeah,
by
you'd have to
mileage, and we'll
wait.
attach it to that.
Yeah, you'd have to wait until you got the contact information of the
Yeah.
entity.
Yep.
sure. And that's how we do. That's how we decide.
Yeah.
We don't just say if they just hit out of state here, right? Which I guess they would. That doesn't in their pre-screen data, that does not mean that at this point yet, or that it's going to go straight to the state. We got to see what their main location address is.
Right.
Also, now obviously if it's a registered apprenticeship or a pre-registered, it's going to go straight to state, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And we did this because we know that each state has its own process to review training providers to ensure they're in good standing and they have the right accreditation. That's just not Illinois, that's every state. And so we want to make sure that they have that and they can attest that they have that before they move on. Because if they're not in good standing, we don't even want them to bother to put in their training program information. So
Right.
as far as pre-screening goes, that's why it's here.
All right. That was my question to confuse everybody, but I see, thanks, Christy. You said you do have Indiana ones, which I assume you did.
Yes, we do. And I'm pretty sure, well, if it doesn't go to the state now, see, I don't know all the specifics of this process, but we have a couple nursing programs that are in Indiana. So
Mhm.
I'm guessing they just come to us because they're already on our list.
They do. They go to
Yeah.
you now.
Yeah. So they just submit their documents like everyone else would and we approve them.
Yes,
Now, I'm
And I guess we're
assuming,
the owning LWIA. then.
correct. You are
Yes.
the owning LVA.
that's
yeah.
what, and that's what I was trying to determine, like, when there's a new outside entity coming in like this, I want to like kind of give them an owning LWIA, right? Because if I can, because they won't have one automatically because the owning LWIA didn't create the record. They did, right? So,
Mhm.
and that really it's not approved yet. So we may not even let, if they have one program or 10 programs and none of those look legitimate or whatever, then we won't even end up making that new provider. It's just going to be, not approved. So,
Right. It
so
all
we just
depends
need to
on how the policy lays out. So if we say, okay, we're gonna leave it as is and it goes to the LWIA that it may have the most customers from, then you would make them the owning LWIA. But if it stays as current draft and they all come to the state, then the state would be the owning LWIA.
Sure. Now, the other thing, and of course, online or only is another scenario where
Right.
it goes to the state directly. I had another question on this, but I just lost it. Okay. All right. That's probably all I got, but I do want to know, okay, is Kelly on, by the way?
No.
Okay.
Mhm.
Kelly had some things.
Oh, you mean
also-
Kelly Trimble or Kelly Lapatino?
Lapatino.
Yeah, no,
Nope.
she's not.
Okay, I'll ping her on that, but she had some other things in the notes. Most of them I picked up and I think we've gotten through, we all talked about them and agreed upon them. She wasn't in that last meeting. But there was a couple other I really wanted her to relook at this and then see if those items are still appropriate based upon all the changes we made. We made a lot of good changes, so. But this should, and if anybody has any problems, because last time I heard, I was out and when this went on, and last time I heard people couldn't get to something or couldn't get to page 2 or something, please contact me immediately because I want to make sure if you're wanting and willing to do this, think like a provider and go through this process for me, then I want you to be able to do that and get through it. As far as I know, we've been through it and through it. I don't see any hangups, but obviously we work from a different perspective because we know what to expect. So I want to make sure that it makes sense and you get through it.
Yes.
For anybody that's
Do you-
wanting to get through it.
Do you remember when we covered that with the LWIAs? So I can try to go back and see if there was anything that we talked about that should get incorporated. I don't
Yes, I
remember.
believe it was April 30th or
Okay.
something like that. First day of May, maybe. Whatever Thursday that was. Or maybe it was the following one. Was I back? I think I was back when we actually talked about that though.
Yeah, I think you were too.
So I think it was after that. But we also have that note page. Did we put it in that note page? I'm not sure.
Probably.
Let me go to the project page real quick so I can show you.
It looks
So,
like April 17th, sorry.
No, that's
April
okay.
17th and 24th, we did some UAT for ETPL pre-screening and had conversations with them around pre-screening.
And that's when you
So-
told me about the proprietary school, right?
Yeah.
okay, so now when will OAT be, or this, whatever this is, UAT be available for like the program stuff? Because I would love if Whitney and Nina have time to be able to screen that too.
The training program
Yeah.
Mhm.
filled out.
Yeah.
I'm hoping at the end of this, we're going to start the training program.
Okay, cool.
I wanted to get that last outcomes page
Yeah.
up to date because we wanted to capture all those things on an outcomes page, and I
Gotcha.
kind of waiting for that.
Okay.
Some folks have obviously seen it, pretty much the whole thing, but I want to get that done, and that's in this sprint, so probably be 2 weeks.
Okay, great.
And I had in here that we would get this, if we could get through your UAT by before the 4th break. So the 3rd, I guess it would be Thursday.
Yeah.
By the third.
And let me
Yeah.
go to our project page.
And then, I know you guys were looking for something. Do we need Whitney and
No.
Nina for that? Because I'd like to, give them back their time.
Well, I just want to show them, if they go
Okay.
to this page here,
Okay.
we should have on here, there it is, UAT 5 cycle UAT guide.
Okay.
And I don't see the notebook yet, but there should be a notebook link here. There'll be a notebook link here.
Release 5, okay.
Yeah, did you?
Okay.
Okay, let me,
Oh,
but this
it's
is
like,
where you go.
it's right,
Project page.
it's towards the
project-
bottom.
Is it on here?
UAT Notebook 2025. Yep, third from
Thank
the
you,
bottom.
thank you. So in this notebook is where we capture things, thoughts, issues, bugs, everything. And you should see, oh, maybe mine are all note.
5.
Oh, I must have put the 5, I'll have to move it over to this notebook. You should see something like this, which will say cycle, release 5, cycle 1. I put mine in a notebook, but it must not been the right one. Huh.
Hmm.
'Cause I don't see it, but I'll have it. You should be able to have, all the pages here, and you can put your thoughts and issues on any page you have here, just like this. This is what we did last time.
Mhm.
You'll have a 5 here. I'll move it over here. So. Okay. And
Oh,
I'll be
and
pulling
there's
this off tomorrow. And while you all are in your face-to-face,
Mhm.
I'll be having the WIA team. I'll walk them through the demo tomorrow so that they can get
Okay.
it. Okay.
And did somebody answer Nina's question about certification is what is different from a certificate diploma? She put that in the chat.
I see it.
Oh,
Certification is
sorry, I was talking to Mark.
Oh, okay. That's all right.
okay.
Okay.
Well, no, but it's good to know because, we have to continue to acknowledge that our system uses different terminology and we want to make sure we're using similar terminology when we can. So if one system is saying certificate is a little bit broader range of description and it includes diplomas, well, we need to understand that and whether we need to include that as clarification and documentation plus training or what we need to do. We need to make decisions on stuff like that because we had that conversation this morning in a different meeting, Nina and Whitney, on credential. And credential to us is a generic term and also an actual outcome. And to some, it's not. A credential is its own thing only. So I think
So I know in the PBBS space, so like some people call it a certificate or diploma, and that's what they get to document completion of their training, right? But then certification is something different, and that's usually what happens when you get licensed or take some sort of exam to certify that you've completed.
Yeah, and it's going to be helpful because we're going to be asking our providers to identify what the outcome of their program is, and they're going to need to know what all these terms mean.
Yeah.
So they pick the right thing.
I can send you what we use in our applications because like we ask them like, who are you accredited by? Is your program approved for licensure certification? And they have no idea. So we spell out some definitions. I can send those.
Oh, that would be great. Yeah, because I know that we had because you had sent us bless your heart. You remember you had to screenshot all your application questions.
Yeah.
So
that might be in there then, because at the bottom, like we'll have some asterisks and it's like accreditation is this, certification and licensure is this. State approval is this.
Yeah, we can. I don't remember seeing those, but that doesn't mean they're not in there. But that's why we tried to base some of these questions off of some of your application requirements.
Okay, I'll look for it and send it again though.
Okay, thank you. Whitney, do you have any other last minute thoughts or questions or
No, I just appreciate being able to, be brought in on this process, knowing that, the community colleges are going to be utilizing it. Remind me again, when is the go live date for this?
Probably we're not planning on rolling this out before July, right, Al?
Yeah, no, it'll be July 26th.
Yeah.
July 1 of 2026.
Yeah. And then did you guys talk about, sorry, I had to jump off. Did you talk about, I know Whitney, we had a conversation about, being able to pull some of your information in.
Oh, yeah.
So it doesn't have to be re-entered. So is that, who do we need for that conversation, Whitney?
I mean, that probably would be Jay, and
Okay.
Nathan from our team, so.
Okay.
Mhm.
And do you want to be in, because we can set up a meeting with Jay. Do you want to be in on that meeting or?
Yeah, I would like to be in on that meeting.
Okay, so okay, great. So then I'll have Carrie set something up. Because I'd like to I know we're still, a year out, but I think it might take a while to work through that. And then Nina, we would love to do the same. If we could do like an API or something with your database, that would be great. Because right now what we're doing is we're pulling down your spreadsheet, the export, and then uploading it into our system.
I have mentioned your requests to Valerie and Dave Kelm,
Yeah.
but it might help if you reach out.
Okay, perfect. So I will set up a meeting with Dave. And who's Valerie? Sorry.
She's my new managing director. So she's over academic affairs here now.
Okay, and what's her last name?
Lynch.
Okay. All right. And I will set up a meeting with them as well. Okay, cool.
Her email is going to be, because we've had a Lynch here before. So her email is going to be V and then lynch@ibhe.org.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
All right.
Thank you.
So Al, do you need them for anything else?
No, thank you very much. Appreciate it. And we'll make sure we get out on this email all the appropriate links that you can get to the document, the notes, and the UAT site. And that UAT site should be migrated over by the end of the day, I hope, but for sure by tomorrow.
Cool.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks so much. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right.